woke up to the biggest disaster that has ever happened on this channel. This is how it all went down. I decided to check up on my piranha mermaids, as I wanted to feed her and see her after a week. I would just replace her honey and cricket quickly. That was all. But when I opened her drawer, expecting her to be wandering around, I was instead hit with this. I couldn't believe she was gone, struck by mold in a matter of days, and the worst part was, there was nothing I could have done. I couldn't have checked up on her without stressing her out, and now our journey had been cut short, and right when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. I was preparing a mix of diluted ethanol to preserve her body in, when I realized, too late, the window was open. A gust of wind blew through, blowing her body off the table. And after half an hour of searching, I didn't find it. But then I realized, if a mold outbreak had struck my room, then one queen I owned was in serious danger. Peace. But of course she was okay, because if Peace was gone, then everything I'd worked for would be for nothing. All of our memories, every single part of our journey, all the hardships, triumphs, but most importantly, her life, her character. I could lose it all. But I knew she was strong. She'd survived so many challenges already. Even seemingly coming back from the dead. She could survive anything. So why was I so nervous? To just check up on her tube, as I had so many times before. And yes, the feeling was real, but it wasn't just a lucky guess. It wasn't even made up for the video. In fact, it wasn't even random. No, this feeling stemmed from experience. One experience. Because this wasn't the first time this had happened. Mold had always been my biggest enemy, and so many deaths had led up to this. But to explain what happened, we have to go back over a year, to when my unrestricted ant catching was bringing me a bounty of queen ants. This queen was perhaps the only one that really mattered to me. My Podomurma gratiosa, the most valuable and personal queen of all my ants. She was a giant at over a centimeter, but always so playful. Ever since I caught her on day one, she had been my dream colony. And as her brood grew, so did my hopes that she would found a successful colony. But the mould had other ideas. I would soon realize the problem with having so many queens all at once. While I was feeding them just fine with my unlimited supply of honey and crickets, with the massive amount of ants, I wasn't cleaning every day. And usually this wouldn't be a problem, but my house is a natural mould breeding ground. Hot, humid, perfect for ants and for mould. One by one, my ants started dying, and each spread more and more until there was nothing I could do. I had to release them. Every ant I had caught now faded away before me. There was nothing I could do to save them. And when my Podomurma dragged her mouldy cricket onto her helpless brood for reasons I still don't understand, that was when I knew. I would do anything to save her and her worker. I moved them into a new test tube, away from the mould, releasing all my other ants to protect them. But nothing I could have done would have been enough. The next day, I found her dead body lying on the floor of her test tube, and I saw her worker, queenless, helpless, abandoned, and I knew I'd never keep ants again. A month went by in a flash, then 2, then 3, and before I knew it, I had been away from the channel for over half a year. But in that time, I also knew my life was never fulfilled as it had been before, when everything had been perfect, until one day, all of that would change. But it wasn't just any date. The exact same day I had found my Podomurma, exactly a year after, something unbelievable happened. And when I look back, I realize it really was a miracle. I actually remember saying, after spotting a beautiful golden tail on a bushwalk, that perhaps they would be the one bull ant queen I really would keep. And I had also said, just maybe, I would start keeping ants again if I found a truly rare queen. Although I also knew I would never find a queen like that. But if you followed this channel, you might think this is staged because it all came together so perfectly. I guess the universe felt bad for everything it had done. Or maybe it really was destiny that I should become an ant keeper. For if you have followed this channel, you would know the impossible happened. My first queen in forever. And I realized I had come so far. From seeing solitary wasps as queen ants, to finding and keeping a golden-tailed bull ant. There was nothing I wanted more than to raise a colony side by side with her, and to not fail as I had failed my podomama. And as I once again felt that bond with something as small as an ant, a single word, a name, shot through my mind. But it wasn't about her being peaceful. This was the peace she brought to me, in the form of starting ant keeping all over again. And finally, I felt motivated. I truly wanted to video this. I recorded hours of footage, waiting patiently to edit it all into an 100 days video. After almost 150 days after finding peace, I had stopped recording everything, content to know she was there every day. But that was when my perspective of ant keeping would completely change. Made a scientific discovery. The first queen ever found of this genus. One of the rarest in the world. Possibly my most amazing find ever. But the thing is, once you reach the top, there's nowhere to go but down. And finally, that brings us to the present. The cold, fateful day when my old enemy would strike again. And as once again everything faded beneath me, I saw her lone worker, but it wasn't just her. I saw all of those colonies I had failed, suffering as their queens died before them. My muscleman tree ants, golden-tailed spiny ants, banded sugar ants, furnace ants, piranha myrmecs, and so many more. Everything I'd gone through was once again meaningless. Everything in my antkeeping journey, and I had nothing to show for it. I couldn't believe it, couldn't accept it. I didn't dare touch her body, perhaps fearing the truth that I'd lost everything. So I just stopped. I didn't want to record, to post any more videos. History had repeated. Everything that had happened before now struck me again. But I knew now it wasn't what I wanted. It was my destiny to keep ants. I couldn't leave again. I couldn't make that same mistake of leaving antkeeping behind for a world without it. So after just 1 month, I decided to return. Because this time, there was one thing that made all the difference. It wasn't my experience. It wasn't luck. It wasn't even my memories with peace. One queen. Maybe she could change it all. Because she was a survivor. She had made it when all my other ants had not. She was all I had left. And I wasn't about to fail again. I never thought I would see the day where a small black ant would change my life. But she's the possibility of a future. And just maybe that's what she means for me. And that was when I knew what I wanted to name her. Welcome to the colony, Hope.